Okay, guys, here are our new spring heroes. Do you guys want to call it the spring banner or the bunny banner? Because I feel like the bunny banner is much more fun.
I'm pretty sure everybody would just call it the bunny banner anyway, because, I mean, nobody else is dressing up as anything other than bunnies.
Well,
so
actually, these are rabbits. That's the thing, because rabbits are... You could tell by the ears, but these are rabbits. Rabbits and bunnies are not the same, but like... Yeah, I think calling them buns is much more fun, and the bunny banner just sounds way better than spring banner. Spring banner, you think of other things. Bunnies, though, yeah, that's an entirely different matter. Wabbits, yeah, that's because they are actually wabbits. All right, so quick peek at everybody. Severa, Inigo, Minerva, Myrrh, and Saleh. I still can't believe it's Saleh. You know, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, that's Owain. His hair and how he looks just look like Owain to me.
No, I'll definitely say that's true. For the face in particular, if you said that it is a blonde-haired, short-haired, character, and it happens to be with characters from Awakening, you wouldn't be the first to say that would be, an incorrect guess. Because
the reality is, like, why would they split them apart? You have Severa, you have Inigo, and you have Saleh? Like, no, it should be Owain. I get Saleh and Myrrh have a connection, but like, come on. Why would you split the trio apart? That's effed.
Yeah.
All right, so really quickly, we don't have Legion Macrash today, chat, so we're gonna just grab a bunch of randoms, right? I've never spoken to or known you guys, right?
What?
Okay. So.
Oh, of course. No,
hey,
there's no Marianne since
here. Still. So, and by the way, if anyone's interested in interesting maneuver, this is Dex from the chat, so it's familiar face. Okay, hi guys.
Yeah. So we have Riken and Dex today, because I don't know what happened to Macrash, but Legion I know is busy. So, all right. So different guests for today. Thank you,
Dex?
Girly Cat.
Fuck you, Melly.
Girly Cat for the resub. Wow, this is you're not even 1 minute up here, and you're here swearing at my viewers. How dare you, sir?
Hey, I get the right. I mean, Melly's cool. Melly's cool. Okay.
All right, let's start. First hero, Bitter Blossom Severa, level 40, has 39 HP, 37 attack, 40 speed, 24 defense, and 17 res. Her Super Banes are in HP and res. Super Boons are in speed, of course. 44 speed. That's like the kind of new premium that we have nowadays. And then Super Boon in defense for a totality of 157 BST. So yeah, we're starting with the hero that I'm most interested in first, and the one that possibly has the most potential, because if you guys recall, she can quad.
And that is very important for Mage Knight.
Yep.
Well, you could say that. I mean, I'm sure there's one Mage Knight who isn't very good at quadding, but
are you trying to start something?
Well, I can't resist bringing up the bane of your existence every once in a while, right?
It's not. Oh wait, what? Owen's not the bane of my existence. She can quad. Reinhardt can't quad,
the
but
guy who can't quad, yeah.
Ryan sucks. All right. Anyways, Gulen Combi Egg, which by the way, Gulen Combi is apparently a rooster who does rooster things, aka the cockadoodle do. Wait, do roosters? Anyways, they make their cries before as a signal for Ragnarok. So that's I never thought she would bring Ragnarok. Okay.
She's more powerful than we thought.
It's just a weird egg, but I guess if that egg ever hatches, Ragnarok starts. Is what it hints at. I don't know. It's a weird little thing to name the egg. Anyways, special trigger cooldown count -1 at start combat if foe's HP is over 75%, grants attack speed +6 to unit during combat, and also if unit initiates combat and unit or an ally has already entered combat during the same phase, unit attacks twice. In other words, she either fights first or somebody else has already fought, and then her weapon becomes brave. So each attack doubles. So instead of 1 and 1, it becomes 2 and 2. So that's the idea of the weapon. So it's scary because she's essentially... We don't really have another hero like this. The closest thing is, I guess, Dancer Ishtar in terms of quadding red mages. But this is the only other one, really.
Yeah, right. Ishtar's issue, Dancer Ishtar, is that she gets... it's still... not that she has bad speed, but she does get as...
Doesn't an ally have to attack in order for her to do that?
For where are you talking about?
The egg for quadding.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. She has to attack, or an ally has to in that same phase. But
yeah,
the difference is that Severa's offensive stats not only are a lot better than Dancer Ishtar's, or I guess we could do a comparison at some point. But Dancer Ishtar gets that -2 speed from her weapon, and of course it's like a 9 might. Because it's an unconditional grave, at least on player phase, it's going to have lower might and that speed penalty.
Yep.
So that's going to hurt. But this condition, as long as you can activate it, I think it's going to be really powerful. It's just a matter of making sure that you can plan a little bit around it. So that, if you just throw her in, first thing, one thing that I guess is, important to mention is that a cav unit like her, a mage cav, you might want to throw her in like, first thing in the map. But because of her weapon, you might actually have to plan a little bit around that. So.
But I really like this because, really quickly, chat, the way to use Severa seems pretty simple to me. First of all, as a cav hero, she's easy to buff. You just give her home cav and you're good to go. That extra 6 attack, 6 speed, if she quads, is incredibly dangerous. Second of all, she uses red dual cav, which she can easily replace, but lull speed res and joint hone attack. So she can buff herself really easily as well, being just a hero next to her. But the point I'm trying to make is, she can just run in, attack something, they hit back, she takes damage, and she attacks, and then your Dancer can Wings of Mercy in, and now she's quadding. Of course, she probably doesn't survive another hit, but her first 2 shots are incredibly deadly at this point. So she's very, there's a criteria to her weapon, but it's not the hardest one to enable, is what I'm saying.
True. Yeah. It's a little harder than Tsubasa's, but Tsubasa's was never that difficult to activate anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay.
And in some ways, I guess it's a little easier, but.
Yeah. One of the things to mention, considering Tsubasa does get brought up with her, if you ever did want to use a blade session skill, it doesn't actually not make sense to use it on her. If she attacks instead of the second phase, it's the third phase, she can maximize the damage output. But if you still want to attack during the second phase, Swift Sparrow 3 would do the job just fine, though.
I think Swift Sparrow is going to be the more consistent option and the more common option, because blade session is just so premium, and it's frankly, if you're going to sack a Tsubasa for blade session, it's like, I wouldn't do it just for that. Tsubasa's a good unit in her own right. So.
Right. The other thing is just because we got the new manual paths. I know a lot of people are really upset that it's red dual cav 4, which indicates she might get foddered off. But from what I saw of Marianne, right, tons of Mariannes, I expect Severa to a lot of people just to give her a chance and use her. And with that said, because of the manual paths, you can now just grab Swift Sparrow 3 pretty easily, attack speed push pretty easily. All those things will work very, very well for her.
The waifu bait ensnare some people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that said, the only unfortunate thing about her, she has no defense and no res. That's the only thing. So lull speed res is really nice to have on her, and once it becomes a brave weapon, because of the 1 cooldown, special trigger cooldown count being 1, you probably get the kill, right? So you attack and then you get Moonbow, and they're probably dead. But the thing is, in terms of quadding and reaching her potential, you really do still want to use Desperation. So it really comes down to, if you want a more consistent quadder, you drop the lull speed res for Desperation. But if you just want her to get the kill on the first 2 shots, you keep lull speed res. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, consistency overall versus when she gets damaged, getting that really nice desperation effect. So.
I was just going to mention, considering her weapon does want the enemy to kind of be pretty healthy, you really want to just get those 1-round engagements if possible, or at least make sure that she is nearly putting an enemy to death when you're putting her in. So emplacement is very important with her. So cav teams would be really easy to maneuver around with her, because obviously she's a cav, and a cav team would be able to dip in and dip out easily with that. So it really just comes down to planning to try to get her to go in for that first engagement on a single enemy.
All right.
I wonder how common she's going to be in ether raids too, on offense and defense.
Because the reality is even AI can use her, because it's a criteria built in the weapon. So it'll be interesting to see that. That's what I want to see. But I think this is more of a player used hero. If somebody can make the AI make this work, that'd be immensely special. But we'll see. All right. Anyways, with that said, red dual cav is the interesting thing here. It will be interesting to see because I think there will be some people who make +10 versions of her, and we'll see her in like arena or something, which wouldn't be terrifying, but she'd be fun to use. But with that said, like in general, her base build is just. I mean, you can keep joint hold attack, but you can also replace with any level of smokes. Lull speed res you can keep, or you can switch to desperation, and then of course her A skill can be attack speed push if you're going desperation, or Swift Sparrow or attack speed solo, anything you want. And of course her special can be Moonbow or Ruptured Sky, but not very many things to like change drastically. It's just mostly her A slot is what I would say.
Right, and you could argue her C slot too, because if you're going to go with a Cav team, and you're still using,
yeah,
it feels a little 2017, but you can still use, the Hone Cav strats,
yep.
And you could give her a, something like that, or just I think a joint drive is a little more consistent because of all the counters to Hones nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of beside the main point. It'll help out a little bit. But...
All right, so really quickly, just put things in perspective, chat. She actually does hit hard because at base she has. That is 60 attack. So 60 attack, you can't be buffing for their res, and she can potentially hit you 4 times. And if she hits you 4 times, that Moonbow triggers twice, so you're definitely dead. So it's a high damage output potentially, and of course very, very high speeds as well. So yeah, a very top-notch hero. She is exactly as I had hoped. Her bulk is definitely not there, but with only 157 BST to play around with, you can see where most of it went.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so comparisons. Let's do Ishtar first.
Yeah, I've got her pulled up right now. So do keep in mind that Ishtar loses 2 speed from her weapon. So Ishtar is a 144 BST red mage flyer. So there's a gap of what's Severa's BST again?
157.
Oh, okay, so yeah, 13 BST there. I'm no Legion, I'll say that much. I wish I was consistent as he is in this, but okay. Ishtar has 3 less HP, 3 less attack, 4 less speed, 6 if you count her weapon, 8 less defense, and 5 more res.
Yeah. So it's pretty bad because there's a huge swing in stats for speed for Severa. That's 6 points easily because of the weapon, and of course the attack is even Severa's favor. And in terms of defense and res, it's essentially altered around, but even then Severa does better. So she's basically more bulky, has more speed and more attack, just virtually better in every way except she can't refresh.
Right.
Okay, is there actually a good comparison here? Because that's literally the only red mage.
Want to compare Owen?
No, there's no point in that. Even if you go Resplendent. Let's do Ninja Lin. Because that's another quarter, and I think that's
Ninja
probably the
Lin?
best
Okay.
quarter in the game right now. It's not a complete comparison, Chad. That's not a very fair one.
Okay, well, we'll see. Ninja Lin has 167 BST, so that would be a 10 BST advantage.
Yep.
Of course, colorless dagger flyer. I guess everyone will probably know more about her because, free unit. But let's compare stat-wise. So Ninja Lin has 1 more HP. Ninja Lin has 1 more attack. 2 more speed, 3 less defense, and 9 more res.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it, chat? Because Lin doesn't have a conditional quadding. She just has to outspeed you. And she's also slaying weapon, so she's also gets very fast specials. Now she's flying, and Severa isn't. But again, the non-condition on her quadding is much more potent. And of course, the 10 BST difference it essentially gives her more bulk as well, outside of a bit of defense, but essentially much more bulk as well. So Dual Lin has more attack, more speed, and a dual ability. But it's physical versus magical. Still, though, that's
Right.
Dual Lin is stupendously good. You put it in perspective.
And of course,
No,
there's
I
the
won't
cab
argue
versus
that.
flyer argument. So
Yeah. But yeah. Chat, you guys got anybody you want here? Because I don't really think there are good comparisons. We don't really have heroes like this.
let's check. Okay, someone's saying Mage Erica. Sacred Memories Erica is a red mage cav, of course, with 144 BST, so a 13-point disadvantage to Severa. That's what Few Generations does to you. With 3 less HP, 6 less attack, 5 less speed, 4 less defense, and 5 more res.
Yeah, it's dumb. 13 BSC swing. She's just much more harder hitting than Erica. Even with her Glipnir Refine, it's not even close. Because Glipnir is only at 100% at start combat, grants attack speed plus 4 during combat. At start combat, if foe's HP is 100%, inflicts attack speed, defense, res -4 on foe. It doesn't catch it up.
It neutralizes penalties, yeah. So that can be useful. But even with all that, the attack and speed extra, sure, it'll catch up base-wise, but after, of course, you factor in Severa's weapon and skills, it'll end up being a huge advantage for her.
Yeah, even if Severa doesn't quad, she's already keeping up with Erica. That's the craziness of it all.
Yeah.
So, to go back on with the Erica thing, the fastest mages that we have for red mage calves are Erica and Titania, and she blows them out of the water with speed. So she is as fast as you want her to be, and everything in her kit, once again, is implying that she is speed for red mage calves.
Yep. She's the new standard when it comes to speed.
Oh, actually, wait a second. One person did suggest something that actually seems relevant. Selena, base Selena. Like, not... I know it's easy to think of Selena like the Selena, but Sacred Stone Selena.
Oh! Okay, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at them now, and they're pretty similar. Okay, so promise, last one. I don't want to take too much time here, but Selena, again, Sacred Stone Selena, base form, is 157 blue mage calves, so same BST, with 1 more HP, 2 more attack, 1 less speed, 8 less defense, but 6 more res. So trading around a little bit in basically a trade in the defense and res, in exchange for evening out a little bit more in attack and speed. Which is kind of interesting.
I do think that's interesting because she's also in comparison, she uses wind sweep instead of course, like trying to double, trying to quad.
That's her bread and butter. Yeah, Selena's weapon is of course Tome of Storms, the speed +3, and the foe's HP being above 75% grants her 5 attack and speed and null follow-up.
Yep.
So it's a fairly simple condition, but a very powerful effect.
Yep.
Then again, Selena, with her conditional brave, can in some cases outpace that. Considering you could get a brave effect before, just a hard-hitting unit could get the chance to retaliate, like a physical unit.
Right.
That
so
would block with wind sweep. Yeah.
It really just comes they're pretty close. In terms of being a top tier mage calves, like the standard of it, they're pretty close. They're fundamentally pretty different in what they can achieve, but in terms of performance, I think they're going to be pretty close. All right, but yeah, I think that's the last good one. We should move on. The next one is Festival Flower Inigo with 40 HP, 38 attack, 40 speed, 22 defense, and 27 res. Oh no. I feel bad for him. Because
why would that be?
His stats, isn't it really, really close to Severa? 37 attack versus 38, 40 speed versus 40, but he doesn't have the quadding ability, and his bow, he doesn't have a perf either.
Well, they are very different units. I mean, yes, I will gladly admit that Severa is going to be a lot better than him and a lot more used, but at the same time, they fulfill such different roles, so it's,
No, you're right about that, but it's just like, he needed something special there, and it's basically Severa with more bulk, is what the stat says.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel bad for him, because as a green flying archer, it's not like he has a lot of competition, but it's just like, why would you use him?
Oh yeah, well, I will say for his competition, that is
basically just Fjorm, isn't it?
Yeah, literally just her. If you want to be strictly in terms of green flying archers, which is very specific, but of course, then you've got, if you broaden it to just bow archers in general, you've got people like the most notable of which the 2 Claudes, and those 2 are in kind of a league of their own when it comes to.
Oh yeah, in terms of just archers in general. That's why I'm saying this is rough, man.
Yeah. No, I won't argue saying that Inigo is like some super good unit here, but the one thing that I can say, like just looking at the stats, if we were just to pretend that both the characters didn't have a weapon, this character kind of reminds me of Summer Lynn in a way. If you see the stats in perspective.
Okay. I guess. I mean, although Summer Lynn is like, you know.
That's rough because Summer Lynn has a perf, and that perf is a really good one. Effective against armor always helps.
I mean, yeah, that's helpful. The perf's effect, other than that, I don't think is. I think it requires, what is it? It requires the foe to be 100% HP, which is not the hardest thing, but when you've got so many weapons, like Inigo's, that only require the foe to be above 75%. It's a little bit. Lynn's Deep Blue Bow is speed +3, effective against flying and armored, and if foe's HP is 100% and she initiates, she gets +4 to her stats. So it's not bad. The armored effectiveness is kind of the selling point, though. So.
All right. So
something. Oh, I was just gonna make one more point.
Yep.
Something to compare, despite the fact that there would be no armor effectiveness. A Spendthrift bow would give you a slight amount of comparability.
No.
But I think Glenn still beats it out, though.
Right. The problem with the Spendthrift bow argument is you could just put it on another hero.
Yeah, just slap it on anyone. And
yeah.
They can be like the shittiest archer out there, and they could still be pretty good with a Spendthrift.
Because of Spendthrift, I know. That's why I don't like that argument, because the reality is you could just... It's not anything particular to Inigo. It's just put that on anybody, and they're good. So,
yes.
Really quickly, Inigo has 167 BST, Super Banes in HP and Res, Super Boon in Speed. So just like Severa reaches 44 Speed capable. But without the perf, it's where things get really iffy. Because he has Springy Bow, which is effective against flying foes at start combat if foes' HP is over 75%, attack speed +5 to unit, and neutralize units' penalties to attack speed during combat. It's actually a really good bow, but Spendthrift exists, Plegian Bow exists, hell, even Reindeer Bow exists. These are all pretty good, easy to get bows in comparison. Well, I guess Plegian Bow would just be the same level of difficultness, but you get my point. He also has Rally Attack Speed Plus, Green Dual Flying 4, and Attack Speed Rating 3. Unfortunately, he's a really good fodder hero if you can get a Green Dual Flying from Veronica, who's the only hero that has it. Flying Veronica.
Have a spare.
Yeah, if you have a spare, grabbing Attack Speed Rain and Green Dual Flying would be amazing, or Rally Attack Speed Plus, but yeah, that's the rough part. Aside from that, though, I don't know how he hits his potential because his defense and res is not great. It's okay. 22, 27. So if you put Spendthrift on him, great, but he's still weak to archers, so he still gets blown out of sky. And that defense and res doesn't get high enough where he can just shrug off damage. It's more like, do you want to try to make a flying quad bow archer? That's basically all I see here.
And I'm not,
flying quad green bow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, though. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I was gonna say Brave Hector, but then I'm like, well, Brave Hector and Brave weapons don't exactly go hand in hand because he just shrugs off the damage, even if it's color advantage. But I'm honestly of the opinion that if a unit without a perf Brave weapon, now there are exceptions, of course. There's Halloween Fae and Halloween Jacob, or not Halloween Fae, Spring Fae and Halloween Jacob, like Brave Bow armors. I can see the argument being used for them, but generally speaking, I just think the low might and the speed penalty of Brave Bows is just such a detriment to a unit when there's so many good bows out there that you can still double with, or you can get a myriad of other really good effects without having to,
I'll just be honest.
The Brave effect.
I can't recommend a flying archer outside the Clods. That's the reality of it. I really can't. All of them have major issues, right? As much as I love Summer Lynn, she has her own issues. As much as flying archers, there aren't a lot of good ones, just both Clods. So Inigo unfortunately goes to that pool. I don't really know. Yeah?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we do have to consider, I was looking at the list here and chat. We do have to consider New Year's Plumeria and Flying Hinoka. Those two actually, I will say, are quite good as well. Okay.
So when it comes to Hinoka, the debuffing ability really puts her in a league of her own in terms of having armor effectiveness. So you're right about that. I still struggle to recommend her because if she doesn't get the kill, her defense is still so low that counterattacks still really wreck her. Plumeria is different though, because she's a refresher fundamentally, so she doesn't have to rely on any combat, and because it's a refresher, like it's hard to like argue against it. So for me, still, it's primarily the 2 claws I can recommend for everybody. Hinoka's a special case, and same thing with Plumeria.
Hinoka's got a lot of support capability, and if you build her right, she can be an excellent offensive archer as well. Although it, merges and good skills are really what make or break her, in my opinion.
Yeah. So for Inigo, I would say the only kind of potential I see is just quad bow, because if you get plus speed, 44 speed, if you go brave bow, it's now 39. His attack isn't so bad, so it'd be plus 8. Like you can try to use Swiss Barrel 3, Desperation, and he already has attack speed range, so it increases his bulk a bit and helps with his speed. So I think as a quad archer, he has a bit of promise there, but aside of that, I don't see much. All right, but I do want to give at least one comparison. There is only one thing that I see this Inigo doing, and he's just killing,
absolutely massacring.
Fjorm. New Year Fjorm is just entirely dead at this point.
Wow, let's have ourselves a little bit of a killing spree with this comparison. All right. Let's see. So, New Year Fjorm is a 150 BST green flying archer. Now the difference there is, I'm terrible at the remembering what you said for the BST. What's Inigo's BST?
167.
167. Okay, so 17-point gap. Excellent.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, she has 1 less HP, 3 less attack, 5 less speed, 2 less defense, and 6 less res. So
yay!
In every possible way.
Yorma's dead. The only other flying green archer is just 100% replaced by Inigo. Let's save power creep, because that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
And yeah, so there you go, chat. There are really no good comparisons. Inigo is... both claws would not make any sense, chat. I'm just going to tell you right now, because they're just so different.
Remember when we thought 35-35 was a good offensive spread? Yeah, me neither.
Well, it's 3 years ago or something, but yeah.
I know, but still, it's like, I remember back when I was still watching, I watched streams like this every once in a while, and I didn't start becoming active here until, a handful of months ago.
Okay, so this is your first time on stream, and now you're insulting me and telling me how much you didn't like me in the past. Okay, I get it.
Hey, come on. I watched you for your reactions, okay?
Okay.
I viewed you as a react. But anyway, yeah. So back then it was a long time ago, but we really did think in that day 35-35 was pretty good. So.
Which is unfortunate, because even though 35-35 was pretty good back then, nobody used Fjorm, and we're gonna see the same issue with Inigo, I would say. So you would only use him if you're a really big fan of Inigo. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing promising here, unfortunately. I'll give a quick stat comparison for Brave Claude, and then we'll just call it there. Yeah, Brave Claude has 42 HP versus Inigo's 40. He has 36 attack versus Inigo's 38. They both have 40 speed. Brave Claude has 23 defense versus the 22 on Inigo, and he has 25 res versus Inigo's 27. So defensively, they're very identical. Offensively, Inigo is slightly better, but of course, because of the perf and Wind Parthia's ability to give you extra stats plus 5, there's no advantage really. They're very close offensively, but Wind Parthia of course is busted in terms of its healing ability. So yeah, if you were to use Inigo, I would just Brave Claude. If you wanted a flying archer, I mean. And if you were to absolutely use Inigo, I would just say Brave Bow. That's it. Minerva! Minerva is a hero that I absolutely adore. She's one of my favorite heroes in all of Fire Emblem. So to see her get a special version is really nice. To see her get a Resplendent was also really nice, but this is going to be rough. So, Verdant Dragoon Minerva has 41 HP, 36 attack, 38 speed, 35 defense, and 18 res. That's not bad. I expected to have very low res just because all Minervas have very low res, and that's the Minerva stat spread actually. Very close. Actually, a bit more speed than I thought, but yeah. Okay, so she is
what we expected.
168 BST. She has Super Banes in HP and res, and a Super Boon in speed. This is a third hero in a row with Super Boon in speed. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, at least if you're going to build her, you can get that.
Yeah, you should probably aim for plus speed. So 42 speed at Boon. So that's not bad. It's just she's your demoted hero, so her kit is incredibly lackluster. She has Spring Lance Plus, which isn't bad actually. At start of combat, if foes' HP is over 75%, grants attack speed +5 to unit and neutralize units' penalties to attack speed during combat. It's funny how like we're given like the axe versions of these weapons for free, but the lance versions or the premium ones are much. You gotta actually like summon for them. But Spring Lance is not bad.
Yes, it is the less premium, or it is less premium compared to Inigo's weapon because 4-star focus is all. Which I will say, one of the best users I think of this weapon is someone like Winter Hilda, who she works well with things like the flowing lance and the candy cane that she comes with. But she doesn't get the speed from those weapons. And getting the speed from this weapon as well as neutralizing her penalties to this, I'm thinking actually is really important. And for other fast lancers, I think they'd really appreciate this.
So Spring Lance is actually not bad, I would say.
That is a good point you make, actually. I do run a Speed Hilda for me, so that actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
I think it'd be an excellent idea, yeah. It doesn't have the positioning requirement of the flowing lance, which normally I would say isn't a problem, but armor movement is
right.
It is. So
okay, the rest of the kit is Bonfire, Attack Defense Solo 3, and Odd Attack Wave 3. Very simple kit. The problem is you can't really fodder her very well. If you go for Spring Lance, I guess you can probably take Odd Attack Wave, but that's not exactly ideal. C-slot, it's good, but it's not ideal for a lot of heroes. Attack Defense Solo, at least she demotes it, so it's an easy way to get it. It is 4 stars, right?
According to Evan, it is, and Evan is right like 99.91% of the time, so yeah.
Except for about Gunter, so that's your 0.1. Anyways.
Yeah.
With that said, though...
Okay. I'll change my mind when there's Fallen Gunter. I'm actually curious for what they do with that, but anyway.
With that said, her base kit's not bad at all, because she actually has a surprisingly high amount of defense. I think this is really good, because this Minerva, if you have plus speed, 42 speed, you refine Spring Lance for speed, 45 speed, now Spring Lance on both phases gets speed +5 and gets to keep her buffs. 50 speed base is really respectable. With Attack Defense Solo, she gets to 41 defense, so she doesn't necessarily need like Desperation or something, because that's a fair amount of defense to shrug off damage with. So Minerva's actually not bad with her base kit, and she makes quite a bit of sense. It's just, once we get to comparisons, you'll see why it's still hard to suggest making a Minerva. So I think, I like Minerva, I'm glad she's in the game. This isn't bad, it's actually pretty good. The low res is a problem, but then again, just don't run her into a dragon or some mages who she can't counterattack anyways, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, and based on the amount of Craigasms and people really liking her in chat, I imagine there are a few people here who are going to summon on her.
Yeah.
For more than one reason.
Yep. And it's surprising this is our third Minerva, which is what I love Minerva, but I'm surprised she's that popular to get a third version of herself.
Yeah, I mean, she is an OG. I guess technically she's like the you could call it the leader of the White Wings. That's what's something.
Oh, to answer the question about the last year spring weapons, it was Spring Fear, like those type of weapons, the Carrot Cudgel and stuff.
Oh, Gamer Meverse meant Summer. Yeah. You're just making this very confusing because he said floor guide.
Yeah, Spring Bartray you're talking about, right? Reckon or Recon?
Yes.
Okay, well this is going to be confused into Summer
Spring
and
Fear
Spring.
had her perf, but yeah, there was Spring Bartray had the...
This year's spring weapons have the same condition for stat boost as Brave Lucidia's weapon.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh.
Jesus, okay. Congratulations, Sigma. Yeah,
Okay, anyways. Yeah?
I am not a bully. I just want to say.
Alright, so if you were to build Minerva, keep her Lance, keep Bonfire, give her Reposition or something, keep Attack Defense Solo. B slot is really flexible. I would just run Renew instead of Desperation because she doesn't take enough damage, and it's better to get hit sometimes to charge her special up faster. And of course, keep an Odd Attack Way. So easy hero to build. If you put something in the seal, probably be like Attack Speed Solo. That way she has Attack, Speed, Defense. Or you even double stack Attack Defense Solo. Either way, she's a fine hero. Let's do the comparisons. Immediately, she's going up against the actual Queen of Lancers right now, and it's just kind of unfortunate because Patrine is kind of amazing.
You're queen, yeah.
So they both have relatively the same BSTs. They have both 168, 168. But the thing is, Patrine has 1 more HP at 42, 1 less attack, 1 less speed, 5 less defense, and 6 more res. They're pretty identical, so Patrine's stats are 42 HP, 35 attack, 37 speed, 30 defense, and 24 res. They're pretty close. They really are. But the thing is, Patrine has a perf, and that perf is effective against beasts, and it drops the enemy's speed and res by 5, and she targets opponent's res, which, by the way, hilariously, Patrine would make Minerva explode because she would target at 18 res.
Yeah, that's actually true, yeah.
So actually, something to mention, just to go back to the weapons real quick, right before you go back. Whoever uses the weapons, whether you're talking about using, Severa, Inigo, or any of the other characters with the weapons, if anybody's crazy to do it, catch 4 definitely would be an option. Just saying.
Wait, why?
Because they require your foe to be at a certain HP threshold.
Oh, just
so
that.
They work with the weapens.
But it's 100% versus 75, and that 25% difference may not seem like a lot, but it actually, in the grand scheme of things, that the little bits of damage, for example, it's very situational, but from something like a Peevel from Duma, or just from a little bit of chip damage that the unit's taking,
it breaks, right?
Flurry or a push, or something like that. It's not a bad idea, but it's definitely not entirely consistent.
Also, you're killing off Claude just for a bit of improvement on attacking speed. I wouldn't do it.
But think about it. If you killed a Claude though for like a Severa though, you'd like make things explode. You could run a snag with her, and you can go for an ultimate nuke. Think about it like that though.
Okay, well that's Severa. We're on Minerva. You should have mentioned that earlier then.
You could just turn 3 and just nuke things all the same.
All right. Anyways, going back, Flame Lance also because its perf has more base might. It's 16, and it also adds speed +3. So yeah, unfortunately,
so technically 2 speed. Well, I guess if you count Minerva getting a refined weapon, she'd have what is that? 1 less attack, but wait, 1 less attack and. Yeah, but if you speed refined a weapon for Minerva, she would have, what is this? Yeah, 1 less attack than Patrine, but she would have, let's see, 40, she'd have 2 more speed. Okay.
But Patrine's adds 8, so it is 45 true. Versus...
Yeah. If you count in combat effects, but then Minerva's adds another 5 as well, so that's... I don't know. I don't want to go into a big calculation, but they're
virtually identical. Is the point?
Yes.
Of course, Minerva gets to. But the thing with Patrine against she targets res, so that's a big part. That usually gets you to output more damage, and if it's against like a mage or something, sure, that becomes detrimental. But again, that's usually not an issue because Patrine will still usually double those heroes and destroy them anyways. All right, with that said, though, Minerva is an interesting hero. It's just, unfortunately, in terms of the free-to-play pool, you have Patrine. I think most people grab her to fodder her off, or you grab her because you like her and you... But I'm just saying, you're not going to plus 10 her, is the point. If you're going to plus 10 a hero, it's Patrine in terms of Cav Lancers.
These memers
and it's gonna be really hard to argue against using Patrine, but if you do happen to use Minerva, I think probably like the Candy Cane Lance or something like that would work fine for her, but it's really going to be hard. Like
Candy Cane is rough because of the soul skill, so you can't be next to somebody, and then of course you got to be within 2 spaces. So you kind of break down her ability to move very well. I get it, like guard's good.
Kind of re-kit her.
Yeah.
Compare her to New Year's leg yarn.
I think she also needs that speed. New Year leg yarn. Oh, right, that is the good one.
She's going to blow her out of the water, but that's actually a fair comparison. I can pull it up here.
Okay.
Because it's they're both units that have kind of that they're lance cavs that have that decent mix of attack, speed, and defense. Right. Low res.
Infrared. Minerva's actually among my top 5 favorite Fire Emblem characters. So I'm not doubting Minerva Simps, considering she's one of my favorite characters anyways. But it's just a hard competition. Patrine's is so good.
Okay, so Summer Leg Yarn is a 157 BST Lance Cav. What is that? 10 BST?
10, actually 11.
11, okay. Now, Leg Yarn has 3 less HP, 4 less attack, 3 less speed, the same defense, and 1 less res.
Okay, so Minerva's just 100% upgrade essentially.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of a slightly not quite as big of a gap as between Inigo and Fiorm, but kind of a similar situation in that she's literally worse or equal to Minerva in every area.
Yeah. The big part for me was that Minerva has 4 more attack and 3 more speed. Just way better offensively.
Those are big.
In giving Bunny Minerva all of the lances, I can possibly give her Nimhihi.
If you want to do that, do it. I love her. Like,
Minerva,
chat. Still, like, if you guys don't know, the first time I like witnessed Minerva, like, it's the people who played Fire Emblem as it launched, like in the 90s. That's why it's the big part.
Both Severa and Minerva.
Because she's one of those rare princesses who didn't need saving. She was like a girl on her own. Like, she broke the tropes. That's a big part about it. But yeah.
Pika, do you have a redhead fetish?
Oh, he might actually. But yeah, in terms, if we're gonna talk about costumes though, Minerva and Severa are my favorite ones. I'm sorry, Inigo's is okay, but it's like the male ones aren't as like. Yeah, Minerva actually looks like she's like in a casino. Actually, she looks like one of those gambling bunny girls.
Oh boy.
All right, but yeah, I don't think there are a lot of good comparisons, chat, because if you go to the 5-star heroes, then you're going up against like say heroes like Eliwood. Brave Eliwood. Would you want to do that? No, not really. So I'm just gonna call it there for Minerva. Not too many comparisons because there aren't too many comparisons.
Oh, there was people were. Well, we can. I guess there is one.
Ooh.
I don't know though. People were suggesting Ingrid.
Oh, that's unfair. All right, sure if you want.
Yeah,
that's a super premium right there.
Okay, I'll try to
already
go
going to beat out
quickly,
speed.
Yeah.
All right, so Ingrid is 167 BST, so I guess 1 BST below Minerva. You sure Minerva has 168?
Yep.
Okay. Ingrid has 4 less HP, 1 less attack, 2 more speed, 7 less defense, and what is that? 9 more res.
Yeah, so it's basically a swap around defense and res. But the more speed, and of course the true damage from her weapon, and the conditional fire sweep, it's not even fair. Spring Harmony of Myrrh, let's move on. Has 40 HP, 38 attack, 25 defense, 25 speed, 40 defense. I don't know why I keep doing that today. 35 res. This is an immaculate hero. This is exactly what we saw because her stats were in the video. But incredibly good Myrrh. In terms of tank dragons, this is as good as it gets, basically. She's in the league of, say, Halloween Grima, Saros, Brigadoon, which is funny. Brigadoon still does very well, but that's the armored hero. She's in the league of all those other heroes, just a top-notch hero all around. No true, real weaknesses outside of being dragon and flying, but then her harmonic still deals with it. Anyways, she has 178 BST, Super Banes in HP, Speed, Defense. Wow, you're going to be sad pulling for this girl. But she has a Super Boon in attack, so go for plus attack. Yeah. Other than that, quick refresher on her kit, which is what makes her so good. Lilac Jade Breath. Special trigger cooldown count -1 if foe initiates combat or if foe's HP is 100% start combat. Attack speed, defense res +5 to unit during combat, and reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoEs by 40%. Straight up. 40%. No conditions. Just straight up. So
that's what gets to me. It's unconditional, and we've never had something like that before.
Never.
I mean, I guess. Well, we haven't had it to this extent. We got
I guess to like Ira and Regan, right? But like, yeah.
Yes, but not something that's literally with this lacks of a condition as well as just full 40% is really insane.
It is. She also has Noontime Distant Counter, Dragon's Ire, which is still one of the best beast slot skills. I know everyone's like hyped up about Dragon Ball, but Dragon's Ire, do not sleep on it. If unit's HP is over 50%, foes initiates combat, neutralize effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. It's partial null follow-up, it's improved QR, it's a great combination for a beast slot skill. Don't go crazy and think Dragon Ball is necessary on her. With Dragon Ball, she reduces what, 64% damage instead of 40%? 24% more?
64%. At least that's what I heard yesterday. And that's when it gets to multiplication and damage reduction. It's just I don't think Dragon Wall is worth it over Dragon's Ire.
Because yep.
Oh, I was just gonna say that even if you wanted to argue for quicker posting the seal, Dragon's Ire not only has the half of null follow-up in it, but it also has a much easier, or somewhat easier anyway, HP requirement. Just half rather than 70%.
Yep, so if you do run Dragon's Wall, then you gotta go QR. But if you use Dragon's Ire, you can run something more interesting. If they ever release it like Attack Res Solo or something, right? You got a bunch of options.
I just realized that Joshua's refined pair so well with the follow-up.
That's probably coming sooner than
the resonance skill grants him, if only for a single turn.
Joshua. Oh, I actually haven't seen very many people build Joshua, but that's nice to bring up.
Yeah, I guess that's true actually. Although he's probably, if you've invested in him, he's probably not going to be doubled by anybody except people making guaranteed follow-ups. So.
All right. Anyways, Myrrh also has attack res rain. All right. So as a whole, the reason why she's so deadly is 40% damage reduction at all times when you have 40 defense base and 35 res base is not fair. Again, if you attack her, she gets attack speed defense res plus 5. So it's 45, 40. Attack res rain takes it to 49 defense, essentially, with 44 res, essentially. 49, 44, or 40% damage reduction. It is incredibly difficult to kill Myrrh. Even if you have effective against damage, right? You're still going to struggle, because that's 1.5x, but with 40% damage reduced on that, you're still not, like, going to destroy her. And if she uses her harmonic skill, you can only hit her one time, right? And she doesn't count as a flyer anymore.
Right. So there is going to be that challenge, though, of, this happens to a lot of units, and especially duo and harmonized units, that if you try to use them defensively, because they can't take advantage of that follow-up prevention, someone like, a falchion user with the sealed falchion like Lucina or Crom is still gonna probably be able to rip through her because of the doubling and effectiveness and just the sheer amount of stats that they get from sealed falchion. Although
I will counter this though. I don't think she dies in one shot, and if she survives,
not one shot, no.
The thing is, if she survives, because of attack res rain, because of Lilac Jade Breath, and because she has a 1 cooldown special, depending on the special, she could just one-shot them so she doesn't die.
That's true. But if it's like a Lucina running Spurn, though, then that could shake things up too. So.
Yeah. There are variables, but what I'm saying is, like, it's not free. You shouldn't just go I will use Lucina and I'm therefore count. Like, it's not free.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, I was just bringing it up as kind of an example that it's not, it's not foolproof, but.
Just to mention another point for it, considering that the fact of the argument with the Dragon Wall versus using the Dragon's Ire, the damage calculations that you might save despite using Dragon's Wall, I think Dragon's Ire is still going to save you more HP overall in the long run, considering that a lot of people will be trying to use skills to get 2 hits on her. It's going to be very important that you don't have that happen in the first place.
Well, let me put it another way. If you do use Dragon Wall, while you may tank better, you're going to just get destroyed by impact skills. For example, Eliwood versus Myrrh, no one's going to kill each other because he has impact, and Myrrh, if you run double Dragon Wall, he's not Dragon Wall and a Lilac Jade Breath, essentially double Dragon Wall. He's not going to kill her, she's not going to kill him, but he's going to trigger Gale Force, and if he has lunge, he's now running past you, or even just Gale Force period, he's now running past you and going for somebody else. That's one of the reasons why Dragon's Ire still matters, because against impact users, Myrrh will still do fine there.
And that's what's the big deal, because if you're not exactly killing the opponent, then the opponent can mess you up. And if it's an important matchup, or a matchup that could really hurt your team, if you get in the wrong engagement, it's really going to get punished.
Yep. Alright, but in terms of building her, I'm sorry chat, I would not switch off her A slot. Distant counter is perfect. Look at her defense and res. She would happily use that. The only really question, of course, you would never switch off attack res ring. The only real question is, do you want Dragon's Ire or Dragon's Wall? It comes up to whether you think you're going to fight against heroes with impact a lot or not. If you're in Ether Raids, using her in Ether Raids, Dragon's Ire actually makes more sense. I don't think you're that worried about her survivability in Ether Raids, considering 1 cooldown new time means they attack, she attacks, and she heals back up instantly. I don't think she's worried.
There's such a good volume of dragons in the game right now, and of course more to come, that I think if you have, a spare Saros that you're going to use for Dragon Wall anyway, I think it'd be better used on a dragon unit who might really want that.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say suggested anyways. I was just about like,
no,
I hope not.
I'm not. I'm personally not a fan of doubling up on damage reduction. I think it looks good on paper, but
it's diminished return, and usually it doesn't make. Again, with one cooldown noontime, like how much do you need to reduce?
Yeah, I mean, it's still noontime. Now, normally, of course, you wouldn't think noontime is going to deal 30% HP, but because of the natural adaptive damage and just very high attack in general, and attack res rain and yada yada, you're going to end up with quite a bit of recovery. So.
Oh yeah, just put it in perspective, chat. This girl's hitting what, 63 at base? This is 38 plus 25.
Keep your Dragon Wall fodder for your invested dragon units.
Right, because I would say like Dragon Wall enables a character like. Well, if you go hard enough, Sothis with Dragon Wall is actually pretty good with speed, res, the E3 skill in the A slot.
The best Dark Mythic Kappa.
Okay.
This might not be a conventional build, but for the people that may be wanting to do it, considering that she does have a slaying effect, if anybody happens to pull her and happens to use a character with an effect like Brave Lucina that gets the charges on the special, you might be able to do instant bonfire returns, or even other unconventional builds that use Mystic Boost on her.
So basically, Valoria, because it wouldn't be Lucina and it wouldn't be anyone with breath skills.
Yeah, or you could even run Soul for a little bit more recovery, but
yeah. It's a potential build, and you give her something like Mystic Boost, which does replenish the
I don't think she needs that much healing though. Because with 40%,
that's maybe a little overkill.
Because with 40% damage reduction and her defense and res being like almost right heading towards 50 and mid 40s, I don't think you're worried about like that much healing. Don't go crazy with healing is what I would say. That's why I think noontime is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think you can pick and choose. Yeah, like if you can take noontime, you could take, if you're running certain sets, you could take Soul or Ether. But I wouldn't. I think doubling up on them, like going Mystic Boost and the healing specialist.
That's too much, because let's put it in perspective. If you have 49 defense, right, and they hit 69, okay, a funny number to pick. I know they're hitting. That's only 20 damage you're taking, and that 20 damage is times 0.4, which means you're only taking 12. And then, of course, you're hitting 63, and 30% of 63 is, I know it depends on their defense or res, depending on what you're targeting, whether they're range or not. But the entire point is, like, you're basically getting all your HP back anyways. So if you go Soul, it's just like, okay, you healed like 2 HP more than you would have otherwise, but like, who cares?
Well, actually, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's fair point.
Yeah, no, for infinite sustain, that would be overkill, but I think more the deadlier option for the bonfire would probably make more sense. But like I said, unconventional, and only to the people that actually have the ability to do it. It would be very neat.
I think that only makes sense if like the enemy team you're fighting is like a super AoE team. Like you're going up against like Legendary Lucina and another AoE hero. Because that way you get hit twice before you can heal.
Although if you have Fallen Leon, that I hate to hype him up so much, but I mine has saved my ass in the Ether Raid so many times against.
But I don't.
Bramimond to Legendary Lucina.
In terms of deployments, I don't think Myrrh is going to be used defensively. That's the thing.
Probably not too much, yeah.
All right, let's get to the comparisons, because that's what really this is about. I think there are 3 good ones. I think Saros,
I have one up.
Howling Grima, and Spring of Dune are the best ones possible, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I have, we can start with Spring of Dune if you want, because I have her up. Okay. So, again, with my BST memory not being good, but Spring of Dune has 184 BST.
178 on Myrrh.
Okay, so Myrrh only has 6 less BST than the Armored Dragon duo that is Spring of Dune. So Idun has 6 more HP, 1 less attack, 1 more speed, 3 less defense, but 3 more res.
That actually compares pretty damn well.
Quite well, actually, yeah. There's a bit of a discrepancy, or actually a pretty big discrepancy in HP, but most of the other stats are just a couple points here and there, swapping the defense and res to be a little more even on Springy Dune. And yeah, it's
they're actually really similar because Myrrh's Harmonics Shield takes away the flying weakness, and Zephyr...
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, and Duel of Dune takes away the Dragon and Armored weakness. And in terms of like stat manipulation, Zephyr Breath drops attack -6 on foes during combat, or if you're within close to ally. So no extra attack, but in terms of bulk, it's about the same. So it's pretty interesting to see like that. Even after a year, Spring of Dune still matches well.
Right, but all the same, she is an armor hero, and we have to consider that, you know, having a flying dragon in just a year, you know, creep so close up to a
yeah,
you know, even just stat wise. Of course, weapon and skill wise, that's a whole nother thing. But.
Yeah. Of course, chat. Spring of Dune's a different use case because again, being armored nowadays with a use case like hers, you would just run a save skill on her, and then she would just do her thing. Not quite the same. All right, the one I wanted to talk about though was Halloween Grimma, because the reality is, Halloween Grimma has 172 BST versus Myrrh's 178. Myrrh actually, like, she doesn't score well enough to reach 180, chat. Actually, no, she does. You just have to merge her. What the heck? Wait. This is crazy. She has a 6 BST advantage on a Halloween Grimma, and it's only been how many months?
It's been, oh god. Well, I mean, since Halloween, so that's
that would be about
6 months?
Less than 4 months, like around that time.
Wait, 4 months, isn't it? It's March, so wouldn't that be like back in like 5 months ago?
No.
Okay, fine.
It would be 6 months.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess something like that.
Because it didn't start at Halloween, it started at the start of October.
Yeah,
anyways,
early October.
Okay, the entire point is like, wow, in 6 months we already have a hero that is like, that's so stupid. Oh my god. Okay, put things in perspective. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. It's just Myrrh gets trainee BST. That is why they would normally have the same BST.
Listen, I never cared about this trainee bullshit because it's the excuse to give them better BST. It doesn't matter because in 6 months, you have 2 super tank flying dragons, but one's green and one's colorless. Which one would you take? Colorless. You have a hero with 172 BST versus 178 BST. Which one would you take? The bigger number is always better. Let's go into stat comparisons because that's already pissing me off. In 6 months, essentially you're making like a better Halloween Grimma. Now you have damage reduction on Myrrh versus the improved healing of Grimma, but
it's because Halloween Grimma didn't get Dragon Boost.
I've got it.
Also, yes, I doubled Dragon Boost since it only ever appears on dragons at random.
Yeah. I know. I get it. But still, this is a significant, like, it just helps. It helps Myrrh so much in the comparison of who's gonna be the better defensive dragon, because I think Myrrh's about to win this. Anyways, let me.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you can do it. Yeah.
Okay, sure. In terms of stat comparisons, Myrrh has 40 and Halloween Grimma has 40, so they both have 40 HP. Halloween Grimma has 40 attack versus Myrrh's 38, so 2 advantage to Grimma. Halloween Grimma has 17 speed versus Myrrh's 25, so 8 points for Myrrh. In terms of defense, Halloween Grimma has 37, Myrrh has 40, so 3-point advantage for Myrrh. And then Halloween Grimma has 38 res versus Myrrh's 35, so 3-point advantage for Grimma. So it looks like 3 more defense for Halloween Myrrh. Spring Myrrh, and 3 more res for Halloween Grimma. And in terms of attack, it's just off by 2, same HP. Most of the BSC difference, in fact, went into speed. So it looks pretty close. It does until you factor in their weapons now. Actually, it's not completely fair because you factor in weapon and A slot in this case. Yeah, because Moonless Breath, you would never remove her. Because Moonless Breath is DC, and it's a lot of the abilities would be... Okay, so we gotta factor in 2 things because of the dragon scale. Alright, this is gonna make things interesting. Okay, dragon scale is attack, res -6, whereas Myrrh gets +5 to every stat. Charge +1 versus slaying. Neutralize effective against flying bonuses. This is super confusing because it's 2 things being compared at once. versus the DC. And then Moonless Breath is 30% after special triggers. 30% of unit's HP is healed versus again 40% damage reduction and then 1 cooldown. They're very close. Is the point? They're very, very close. Grima essentially just hits harder, but I think Myrrh overall tanks better, and being colorless means you're less worried about potentially bad matchups. Wow, that was poorly done by me, chat. But again, it's Moonless Breath plus her weapon versus Distant Counter versus Myrrh's Lilac Jade Breath. It's a bit confusing. Yeah,
No,
Dragon
good.
Skill really increases bulk.
No,
Yep.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's a long worded description for both the weapons for it. So since they have a million
that's
text
true.
on it.
Yep. And funny
Also,
enough, they both have attack
Yeah.
res range, so it's... Wait, actually, no, she doesn't. It's Go Dragon, but they almost all use attack res... Oh, never mind. It's basically the same idea, though, fundamentally. Alright, but yeah, that's an interesting one. Chat, really quickly, who do you think is better? Because the reality is, having 30 speed does in fact matter, because you can cause a draw now, right? If Myrrh goes up against Vector, and she uses her ability, now Vector is only attacking 1 time, and so is she, right? They both have around 30 speed. Not that you would really want to attack with her, but you could if you wanted to, consider her breath still works there. So it's okay to have a bit of speed naturally, is what I'm saying. Nightleaf Hulk. Vic with his bad opinion, saying how Grima is garbage. Yep. Nice.
Vic has the Papega take. I'm beginning to think that Vic doesn't, and actually I've thought this for a little bit. Vic doesn't believe most of what he's saying, but he says blah 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 unit is bad just because he thinks they're slightly worse than another unit.
Yeah, I think in Vic's mind, if you're second best, you're worst. You're essentially worst.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna mention, considering that the people were complaining about the training BST thing. Man, you be lucky that you can get a unit like Myrrh that has the BST like this. When you're talking about a unit like Gunther and Jagan for that one, what do they get? Veterans BST? Man, they wouldn't even be in the game.
Gen 1, okay? That was Gen 1. I don't think they've done veteran BST since then.
I don't think they even have old people anymore.
We'll
also have like dragons and demons and stuff, you know.
No, because like the next time we get another ult for Jagan and Gunther, they'll have minus 10 BST because they'll be coming in later in the game.
All right, that's totally how it works. Anyways, moving on. The final comparison is Saros, because in terms of tank dragons, there's really nothing left. We did a Dune, we did Myrrh. I guess you could do base Myrrh as well. I guess we'll do that one later, but let's do Saros right now. It's 177 BST on Saros because she is infantry versus 178 on Myrrh, who is flyer. Blue dragon versus colorless dragon. Wow, they actually compare well. Yeah.
Yes, they do. Oh no, I was just gonna say, I was gonna ask you. Wait, you've got it up there. Chat's just throwing out all these random names. Like normally I'm the member of chat who's like suggesting all the people to compare, but now that I'm in the hot seat here, it's like I can kind of understand what it feels like to just have chat being like, oh, let's compare Dusel. Yes. Compare Bantu. Oh, yes.
I know that's like most of it you can't take because it doesn't add anything because it's just like that's not a good comparison at all.
Yeah.
How about an off-brand comparison? Since Myrrh is considered a colorless dragon, how about legendary Corrin? Considering both of them reduce damage.
Oh my god! If you're gonna say another dragon, at least
it would have been
like fallen male Robin. I don't know, something like that.
Fallen male Robin, or
she'd blow him out of the water, which is funny because he's in armor.
Okay. Anyways, let's get to it because Saros. It actually compares well because they both have 40 HP. Saros has 42 attack versus Myrrh's 38, so 4-point advantage. Saros has 18 speed versus Myrrh's 25, so heavily min-max on Saros' side, which means Saros has 37 defense versus Myrrh's 40. Saros has 40 res versus Myrrh's 35. Saros actually has better defense and res. Kind of. Just slightly better overall, because that's totals to 77, whereas this totals to 75. And in terms of attack, she out-attacks as well. So it's funny because they kind of are similar, right? They both have essentially 40% damage reduction. Dragon Wall versus Lilith Jade Breath. Dragon Wall might not fully trigger, but Aurora Breath, when you're attacking into her, she gets defense res +6, and if she's attacking, she gets 6 extra attack, and she gets double. So, again, Seros actually matches up well, because offensively she hits harder. Defensively, she's just about the same, and I guess she's blue, but that's about the only issue she has. It's just her being heavily min-max actually quite a bit helps quite a bit. Anyways, they're close. They're pretty close defensively. But again, it's Colorless Dragon versus Blue Dragon. So let's do base Myrrh because I think that's a good one. It's just at least to show off how much she's come, how far she's come. Base Myrrh is 167 BST versus our new Myrrh is 178 BST, so 11-point difference. Base Myrrh has 42 HP versus Harmonic Myrrh is 40. 33 attack versus Harmonic Myrrh is 38. 25 speed on both, makes sense. 36 defense on base Myrrh versus the 40 on Harmonic Myrrh, and then 31 res versus the 35. So basically 4 more defense, 4 more res, 5 more attack, and 2 less HP is on the new Harmonic Myrrh. It's funny because they just it's the right idea. They take the base version and just improved her.
Pretty much. Yeah. It made her colorless, which is,
Yep.
Almost always going to be a boon. I mean, yes, technically against blue units, no, but it's just the versatility of colorless is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's the matchup chart.
Ah,
Yep.
Na is also stat comparable. All right, I'll do Na really quickly
True.
because
Actually,
she's here. Yep.
No, it was just I was just gonna say it was funny. I free summoned on the Tempest Trials banner, and I pulled green. I got like a 4-star, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna spend 4 orbs for this one red orb that's here, or red stone, and I got Na, full neutral. It was actually kind of cool. So
Okay.
I
All right,
got
congrats. All right.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
This is actually kind of funny because Na has 173 BSC versus Myrrh's 178, so 5 BSC advantage to Myrrh, Harmonic Myrrh. 44 HP versus 40, so 4-point advantage to Na. 34 attack versus 38, so 4-point advantage to Myrrh. 4-point advantage of HP to Na. 4-point advantage to attack to Myrrh. They both have 25 speed. In fact, Myrrh, Na, both have 25 speed, so it makes perfect sense that Harmonic Myrrh would just be 25 speed. They all have 25 speed. That's actually funny.
5-head IS.
Yeah. In terms of defense, it's 38 defense on Na versus 40 on Myrrh, and then 32 res on Na versus 35 on Myrrh. So it's essentially is the same stat spread. On Myrrh and Na are just really close, and then once they come together, it's just slightly improved.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah.
And Na at some point we'll be getting refined. Probably a ways down the road, but
Right. We'll wait for that. But yeah, chat, let me know. What do you guys think of our new top tier tank dragon? Because she has her seal slot open with Dragon's Eye, you can just give her Iota Shield. So she's just worried about anti-dragon heroes. Yeah, overall, it's an immaculate hero. In fact, if you do Dragon Wall, you wouldn't need it because it's 64% damage reduction. But again, it comes down to, do you want Dragon Wall, more damage reduction, or Dragon's Ire? Either way, I think this is a top tier hero. I think for a lot of people, if you just get like a plus attack Myrrh or something, as long as it's not a super Bane in one of the crucial stats, I think you're really happy because she'll just sweep a lot of teams. This is a hard hero to deal with for a lot of people.
yeah, you could even use your trait fruit on her, and it wouldn't be, I wouldn't blame you for doing that. It's just
Yeah.
like a unit like this is we come across a lot of powerful units nowadays, but this is a particularly good example of someone that I think will sustain the test of time as far as units go. Although, if they add more skills like Dual Leaf, cutting into damage reduction, of course there are going to be more counters to her, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, Altina for Twin Blade will also like to fight Myrrh as well. Deadeye would like to fight Myrrh, but she's not. The damage reduction is nice to have, but there are counters and there are more and more counters coming through. But still, you shouldn't discount it because, come on, let's be fair here. Most teams you fight don't have like anything to deal with stuff like this.
Generally speaking, yeah.
I mean, a unit like Duo Idun survived for so long for it, so why won't she,
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is also another example of why you want to just go for Deadeye immediately. Which, by the way, if you do get yourself to Shinon, It's Deadeye that you want. I know how good Time Pulse is. I know how good attack defense solo is, but it's Deadeye. That's the difference maker. Alright. Finally, we get to Saleh with 41 HP, 37 attack, 36 speed, 26 defense, and 28 res. Oh god, he is screwed.
Yeah, giving me shades of kind of like a mix between... Well, it's like Pelagian Chris, except he took a mix of his defenses.
I'm sorry, Chad. This is bad. Because this guy has 168 BST and a super boon in defense. Defense. IS.
At least it's not HP.
Look, here's the thing. Super boon in defense, super banes in HP and res. He's the Vernal Sage. He has hardly more res and has a super bane in res. Okay.
Well, to be fair, he's not in Sacred Stones. He's not the most res heavy, although it's kind of odd. His defense was pretty low, so.
Oh no, man, this is dumb.
They're just throwing out random.
All right, really quickly, he has Springy Axe plus. His hard combat foes HP is over 75%. That's attack speed plus 5 unit and neutralizes units' penalties to attack speed during combat. Great, it's the Axe version. Fought this off to a bunch of heroes. Say your Ninja Hannas, for example, are good ones, but you got the idea. Reciprocal Aid, HP Res 2, and Rouse Attack Res 3. Is Rouse Attack Res 3 the 4-star or 5-star skill?
You tell me. I have no idea.
Ether didn't write it down. I don't know. 5-star? Okay, fine. It's still fine because the only way to get Rouse Attack Res before was from Fallen Leon, and you don't want to kill Fallen Leon for Rouse Attack Res.
Yeah, I was actually considering doing that, and I'm really glad that I didn't, and I merged mine. Because that's
yeah.
Okay.
At the minimum, if you do have to sacrifice a Fallen Leon, this is at least 4-star pathing at the minimum.
What? No, just don't kill Leon. Use him. All right, moving on. Okay, so here, as people have pointed out, Pelagian Chris is better. Better weapon, better stat spread, and of course he's more hot. Saleh is fucked. There's no point to this guy. Like, for people who are wanting him in the game, well, he's here now. But the problem is, he's here now and he doesn't compare as well. So let's do a stats comparison for Pelagian Chris, his most direct competition. They both have 168 BST. Pelagian Chris has 41 HP versus Saleh's 41. Pelagian Chris has 37 attack versus Saleh's 37. So HP, attack, matching. Pelagian Chris has 37 speed, so 1 point advantage over Saleh. 31 defense, 5 point advantage over Saleh, and then 22 res versus 28. Here's the thing, that's a 6 point disadvantage, but Pelagian Chris is not likely to fight a lot of dragons, and you're likely to fight physical heroes where that defense is going to be a lot more valuable than res. So despite that little bit of allegation, Pelagian Chris just is better offensively because of 1 more speed, and then better defensively because of the better allocation of res versus defense. This is silly.
This is really going to hurt his case for that, but with him having such a middling stat spread, the thing is, his weapon really is hard to argue towards using. It's really going to become an instant replace. The only thing that I can really see people using him, if they are going to plan on plus 10ing this guy, is like a fortress defense res type of build. Defense, just build defense res.
Yeah.
I guess I could see that, but I think because his stat line is so similar to Pelagian Chris, and I'm not saying.
Oh god damn it! I already know where this is going. Go ahead.
No, I'm not sure you do. You might be surprised, but
okay, go ahead.
Because his stat spread is so similar to Pelagian Chris's, except with a little more res, I think that he could effectively run a sort of speedy mixed tank set with. He could run his default weapon, the Springy Axe Plus, with his speed refine, your DC, lull speed defense, maybe like C skill, whatever you want, and a speed boosting seal, and that could that's going to be far from your optimal unit, but for what he's worth, for what his mixed defenses and pretty good offensive stats, all things considered, provides, I think that would work well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really quickly, you're right. I didn't think about this because what you suggested was worse than what I was thinking. What I was just thinking was you take Plegian Axe from Male Chris.
Plegian Axe, yeah. But
that's what I was thinking.
What's the point in that?
But what you're thinking is even more crazy. You're like DC lull speed defense. I'm like, okay, that is a bit too far for this dude.
I know, it's too far. Yes, I'm saying, but in a hypothetical, if you really want to invest in him, I think that would present a good opportunity because of that higher res. Obviously you don't want to do that. I have no idea why anyone in their right mind would want to do that. I mean, yes, Saleh, he's cool. I like him, but I would not recommend that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because
personally, the build that I think that would be the one that actually you would want to run on him is take the weapon that is from the flowing set and give him the axe version for
the Dex swapper?
From Dorcas,
Give him Dex Swapper. Give him the new secret. Give him the new. Give him.
Today too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, give him the brand new Secret Seal, Speed Defense Solo, and give him another solo skill, Speed Res or Speed Defense once again, and then give him Attack Speed Lull, and then for his C slot, giving something that would give him Defense and Res boosting, or even Joint Drive Res would just make him the most annoying tank that would help your team out. That's the build
I think you guys are going too crazy here. It's just 26 defense and 28 res. It's not even in the 30s. You guys are trying so hard to utilize this stuff.
Okay, I'm saying mine is a plus 10. I think Rican, I hate to say it, but I think mine makes a little more sense because
I think both of yours don't make sense. Why the heck are you guys trying so hard for this guy?
One thing I hate is units that stack a bunch of defense and res and can't use DC. And I think that my build, if you're gonna go, full balls to the walls, berserker man, I'm just gonna throw everything at this guy. I think my build would be more effective. That's
you know what? Since we're all doing this, I'll give you my build. All right.
Oh yeah. What are you gonna do? Brave Axe plus Swift Sparrow, Gale Force, Heavy Blade.
No, mine's even easier and cheaper. All right. So for mine, you go to Allies, Manage Barracks, Create Combat Manual, and then you select Saleh. That is my build, and that is it. All right, so that's your comparison. I'm not even gonna bother with this because he is essentially just Male Chris, but worse.
But wait though, but you didn't mention Fury Desperation though.
Oh, the bread and butter.
Okay, I would put Fury Desperation on him. There you go. That's what I would do.
Excellent.
Oh. Alright, well, there you go, chat. Those are your heroes. I'm sorry about Saleh being so boring, but the reality is it's just Male Chris, but Male Chris is better, so just use Male Chris.
I have this odd feeling that at some point in the next little bit, maybe it'll be like a year and a half, whenever another Sacred Stones banner rolls around, he's going to be this good mage, 5-star locked mage with a pretty good perf and pretty good skills and a pretty good stat sprint, and he'll be pretty good.
Well, okay, that might be in the future, but right now, I'm sorry, chat. It's just Male Chris is so good.
Literally, I mean,
yeah.
Right now he's just,
Again, his competition is Male Chris, and then against people who don't want speed, it'll be against Lex. Between Male Chris and Lex, he's just boned. That's the problem.
I could see him being kind of like Azel if he ever gets added, like a good solid mage who's got a niche. But
all right. Anyways, chat, let me know. Will you be pulling? Personally, I might pull if after Hero Rises goes. I would just go for Myrrh and Severa myself, because Myrrh I think is a game changer, but I don't really need her. I don't need another hero for Ether Rates, and she would be an Ether Rates hero definitely. Of course, as a harmonic, pulling another harmonic just helps you score better, which helps you with resources over time. But with that said, yeah, Severa. I like Minerva a lot, but she would just be another Lancer for me. And of course, you guys have seen my Patrine, so it's not like I need another pristine Lancer. It's just be for Severa. I love her. I just love her. She's everything about her I've liked thus far. So that's me.
I do like her quite a bit as well. Yeah.